When night takes over, I want myself to the end. I hear you by my side, all the camera goes in my head. I remember you smile so well, gotta go what you say.
What's cracking, folks? Welcome back to Sed's Life, episode 3, baby. Pretty stoked with how the desk turned out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little preview, but I'm going to go over exactly how I made it. So the first step was to find the highest resolution photos I could find of the Targaryen and Stark sigils. Did some editing and threw them into Photoshop, and then eventually Adobe Illustrator to vectorize them and make the edges as smooth as possible. Then I laid out a basic diagram of where I wanted everything to sit on the table, and decided on dimensions of 70 by 40 inches. And then made another with much more specific dimensions of where exactly the designs would be. So I sent those diagrams in the Adobe Illustrator files over to the guys at Boulderworks in Longmont. It's a really cool shop, I highly recommend it if you ever need anything cut. The guy's a major homie that was helping me out, and he had no problem with letting me film, which was great. I was stoked to have that footage. All I had to do was bring in the wood, and he already had everything programmed, so just lined it up, got to cutting.
When night takes over, I want myself to the end. I hear you by my side, all the camera goes in my head. I remember you smile so well, gotta go what you said. When I wake in the morning, I know I won't be the same. I'm seeing red, I'm seeing blue, I'm seeing every single color in the room. I let them blind because of you, 'cause it's the only thing, 'cause it's the only thing that I do. Yeah, 'cause it's the only thing.
So I made the legs of the table from 1-inch galvanized pipes. You can buy them and get them cut easily at Home Depot, it's not that expensive. So this is the original design that I was going to use for the legs, but as you can see, the wood was warping pretty bad, so I cut the 50 bar in half, put another T-joint in there, and then stuck another vertical leg up from the center. Then I got this glow-in-the-dark powder off of the Amazon. I don't really think it matters what kind you get, but they had good reviews, so I just went with them. I was a little worried that the burns from the CNC machine would absorb some of the light from the glow-in-the-dark powder, so I spray painted the insides of it white to help reflect that light, and I think it was a good idea in the end. Then bought this super glaze epoxy from Home Depot to mix in with the glow-in-the-dark powder. Measured out 5 ounces in each of these red cups. One was for the resin, one for the activator, and then mixed all of it up for about 3 minutes. Then I started to pour over the design. Wasn't too worried about overflow because I knew I'd be sanding it off later. And if you ever do a project like this, make sure you have a hairdryer to help get the bubbles out of the resin. Then I pretty much did the exact same thing for the Targaryen design, except I just used a red glow powder instead of the blue. Because I mean, shit, it's not Game of Thrones unless it's ice and fire, right? Once it was all dry, I used one of these little scraper things, I don't even know what they're called, to get the resin off, and it worked like a charm. For some reason, thought it would be a good idea to use this sander, which ended up cutting way too deep on the plywood and hit the layer below the top layer, which sucked, but thank God for spray paint and the super glaze, because you can't even tell. Then I used this smaller sander and put some finer paper on it to really clean everything up and smooth it all out. And this is where the fun part starts. Oh my god, this took ages. This is the most tedious thing I've done in years for sure. Laid down some tape and then got to cutting. But yeah, this is the majority of where my time was spent on this whole project for sure. So because it took so long, I simply couldn't film the whole thing. so I'm gonna have to jump forward on certain parts of it.
Cause it's the only thing left to do. Because it's the only thing.
Now for the spray paint. And yes, I know that shirt turban probably did nothing in terms of inhalation of paint, but I like to tell myself that it did. So f you. Because I was spraying down, I was getting these drips that were pissing me off, so I took it outside and leaned it up against a wall. I put about 3 layers on there, which was probably overkill because the gloss makes it dark enough that you can't even tell. So pulling the tape off after was just more of a pain because there was more layers making it stick together. But yeah, more tape pulling. It's real fun stuff here, guys. Really enjoyable work here.
One eternity later.
Next was time to install the legs. Measured it all out. Was pretty satisfied with what I had, so I started drilling. I went back to Home Depot to get another pack of the Super Glaze and used that for the final coat on top of everything. I brought the table downstairs and cut out another piece of wood for the keyboard tray. I spray painted it black and connected it to the table using these sliders I got off of Amazon. Then I put on this protective edge guard that I also got off of Amazon. It came in a roll of about 22 feet, so it was just enough for the table and the keyboard tray. I'll link everything used in the description so you can check out, the full price of everything. And that's pretty much the final product. I might add a few alterations later. For example, I might add a stand for the monitor to sit on a little bit higher. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied with how it all turned out. The music that was playing in the background of this video is by really good homies of mine who have been working on a project called Darci. And they've been working their asses off these past couple of months and are blowing up. So go check them out on Spotify, SoundCloud, or Apple Music. But thank you for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. And for all you true Game of Thrones nerds out there, comment below with your predictions of the first 3 people that are gonna get murked.